Yesterday we did overrated players, and that one was brutal, and that sucked to make, but this one is underrated players. I fully expect a lot more happy comments, a lot of better things to talk about on this video. So we're going to go into the 5 players who I think are underrated. We're talking about players who doesn't get enough recognition for the work that they do and work they're going to do in 2024. So I'm going to give you my list of players. I can't wait to see your reaction in the comment section. Again, comment. Let me know your underrated players. Do you think mine's are BS or not? Let's get this thing started right now. If you like Lions gear, you need to go to lionsnationunite.com right now. Epic gear, shirts, balaclavas, hats, cups, whatever you think. They got it there to get your Lions fandom going. Top 5 underrated players. Number 5 here. I'm going Taylor Decker. I don't think he gets enough credit for the work that he does at left tackle. He's injured quite a bit, and yet he's still on there doing his job. He is a leader of this team. He is one of the longest vets on this football team. He's not the best left tackle in the world, but he's a darn good one. He doesn't complain a lot, and he works really hard. Taylor Decker, to me, is underrated. He doesn't get enough credit on this offensive line. We look at this, you got Penei Sewell, who's great. Frank Ragnow's great. You look at Zyler. We got a lot of good players in this offensive line, but Taylor Decker is the one who anchors this thing. He's the leader of this bad boy. I don't think he gets enough credit. I think he deserves to get a little bit more credit. I think he deserves to get a little bit more love here. And I know he's coming up on a contract. I mean, we'll extend it or not, but Taylor Decker is a good player. He is someone that you can rely on. Yes, he's been dinged up, so is everybody else, but he fights through pain. He's a grit type of player. He's underrated, and we need to give Decker more love, I think, than we do right now. He's just always there. He's always getting the job done. He's protecting Goff's blind side, protected Stafford's blind side. He's been doing it for a high level for a long time. Show some love to Taylor Decker. Put 68 in the comment section. Again, in the comment section, put 68. Show some love to Taylor Decker right now. Let's get to the Graham Glasgow, who is number 4 on my list here as underrated player. Now, he doesn't get paid a whole lot of money for starting guard who can play center. He could play left guard, right guard, and center. That is invaluable for this offensive line. He is older. He doesn't have a big-time paycheck, and he does a darn good job in this number 1 offensive line in the NFL, in my opinion. And Graham Glasgow is a piece of it. He is not the long-term solution at guard. No. But he's a damn good guard, and he is one. He's going to be good this year, and he's probably going to be good next year. He is helping this out. If it wasn't for Graham Glasgow, when we had Halabaludi Vaitai, who failed, we would be in a world of hurt. When Frank Ragnow went down, we would be in a world of hurt. But this Graham Glasgow, he just grinds. He just works. He doesn't complain, and he gets the job done. Underrated. Underrated player for this football team, and you look at this offensive line, it's just so good. And you can see why he doesn't get enough credit, him or Taylor Decker, because everybody else is going to get the credit because they're all pros. Just because a Graham Glasgow is not an all-pro or Taylor Decker is not the best left tackle full doesn't mean they're not good and they don't deserve recognition. They absolutely should. And I appreciate Graham Glasgow's work that he puts in here in Detroit. I'm happy he came back from Denver Broncos. And he's going to be a good guy for our young guards to learn from. He's going to be a veteran they're going to learn from. And there's nothing wrong with that. He knows what he's doing. He's good. Show some love to Graham Glasgow right now. And in the comment section, let me know who is an underrated player you have. Blow up the comment section. My number 3 player, underrated, Brock Wright. Yes, Brock Wright, who we actually had to give a decent contract to because he signed with San Francisco, and then we matched it. But Brock Wright doesn't get the accolades I think he should get. And I know a lot of people think, oh, he's just a number 2 tight end, blah, 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 blah. But he's really smart. He's a great blocker, very good blocker. And he's sneaky when he comes and tries to catch the ball. The Jets game 2 years ago, touchdown. In the postseason, dude ran like 40, 50 yards. He knows the system, and he's really, really smart, and he's sound. in his run blocking. And when you have a player, generally speaking, players that are run blocking at the tight end position, they don't get enough credit as like the players like a Sam Laporta, right? Or somebody who's a top flight tight end out there and who gets it done in the air. But you do need tight ends who's good in blocking, who can open up that run game, who can give Jared Goff another second to throw that football, and that's what Brock Wright does. He's just a solid player. And to me, that's an underrated piece to this game. We always talk about catching the balls and the big numbers in receiving, but what about the blocking? Without the blocking, you're probably not going to get this great in the pass game. Probably not going to be this good in the run game. Blocking's vital. Tight end's important. Brock Wright, underrated in my opinion. In the comment section right now, do you think that Brock Wright is underrated? Do you think I'm just blowing smoke? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As we continue on with this new list, we're going to go with the number 2 here, and Donovan Peoples-Jones is my guy who is underrated, and we are not talking about him and not him, and Kalif Raymond right now are battling for that number 3 wide receiver spot, but we keep forgetting about Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's 25 years old, 6'2", he can play outside, inside, and kick return, even though he's a big body. But that's what he did. He did it for Cleveland. He didn't have enough time to really do it for us because we traded for him late. He didn't get a ton of snaps, but now he's got the whole offseason, whole training camp. He's got really good players around him. Jared Goff, better quarterback than what he had. And I think that Donovan Peoples-Jones is going to flourish as a 3/4. Josh Reynolds not here no more. We need another big body. We need another guy for Jared Goff to throw the football to. And Josh Reynolds is big. But guess what? So is Donovan Peoples-Jones, 6'2", and he's going to be a big body target for touchdowns in the red zone. So, golly, it's not like this dude. I'm not saying this guy is like a number 1 wide receiver, number 2. But he's a number 4. He's a number 3/4/5. On other teams, he would be higher than that. Let's keep it 100. He would be higher than that. But the Lions roster is so good. And is really good at all of the positions, pretty damn good at wide receiver, that it's pushing him up. I mean, last year he was a number 6. That's how good it was. But I think the world of Donovan Peoples-Jones. I'm expecting him maybe get like 400 to 500 yards. That's a big piece. It's a big piece of yardage for this Lions, and it's when you get the yards in 3rd and 4th down. I think he could be target there. He's got pretty good hands, so. What he brings to this team in a value from multiple aspects of his game, I think is underrated. I do. I think he can do so many different things for this football team, and that really helps out. Let's get into my number 1 underrated player in this team, and he's always been my underrated player since he's been here, and that's Kalif Raymond, the most underrated player. I feel like he could be the most underrated player in football. This guy is a good receiver. He's 5'8". That's what his knock is. He's not tall, but he's fast. He can play outside. He can play in the slot. He does special teams. He catches everything. He's done big catches that you think a Jameson Williams would do. That is Kalif Raymond. The only knock on this guy and why he doesn't get the love that he should is he's 5'8". That is it. That is the only knock on this guy. He is a absolute solid and a fundamental good player. Everything about this guy is good. Off and on the field, he's good. 50-yard bombs he can do. He can take it out of the backfield around 20 yards if they want to do a wide receiver screen. He can do that. He can play in the slot. He can do it all. And that's so underrated. And the plays that he does on special teams. This guy is a good player. We didn't have him for the playoffs, and I think that actually did hurt us a little bit. I think it did. And when you have a guy who's a mismatch, you put him in the slot, he's so fast, he's going to dominate the linebacker, and we've seen it many times, if that's the case. Or he squeaks on the outside with the big gain. That's Kalif Raymond, the player who doesn't get the credit but gets everything else done for this football team in the comment section right now. Do you think Kalif Raymond is underrated? Why for yes and for no? There's other players that you can look on this roster to suggest that potentially could absolutely be underrated. If you're looking national-wide or a national rankings, Jared Goff would be, to me, underrated at the quarterback position. A lot of people keep saying he's like 16. So, but we know who he is as Lions fans. We know he's not underrated. We know we know he's a good player. A lot of good players. Derek Barnes, a good player. There's a lot of underrated players on this football team, and you can look at Kirby Joseph as well. He gets turnovers. Futu Melifonwu. He's really shown out. There is a lot of good players on this team. Just a ton. And Mitchell Argud is an underrated player. So we're going to see this in camp. We're going to see these players, do their thing and fight it out. But this video and this topic is much better, underrated versus overrated. It's much easier to look at underrated players for Lions than overrated because this roster is so good. It's so good. And I can't wait to see all the names you guys put in the comment section as an underrated player. I can't wait to see it. You can put Brian Branch in there. There's a lot of underrated players. It's just a team that has players that do their job. They're not the biggest names in the world. They do their job. And that's Detroit grit. That's Detroit Lions. Get the job done. Folks, if you like Lions stuff, you need to go to lionsnationnight.com right now. Right? Latest and greatest gear, shirts, cups, hats, bandanas, who knows, underwear. They got it all. So go on to lionsnationnight.com right now and do that. Hit that notification bell. We're going to be dropping a lot of content on here. A lot of content, right? So you want to not miss out on that bad boy. And subscribe, of course, if you have not done that. We're trying to get to 11,000 subscribers. And with that said, folks,